Behold, the gates of the Imperial Palace. Here, amidst the echoing march of history, stand the 10,000. They are the guardians of the Emperor himself, his final line of defense. To the vast majority of the Imperium, they are nothing more than myth's golden statues that walk, living weapons forged in ancient, forgotten arts. But what lies behind the Oramite plate? The truth is far darker than any legend. This isn't a story of uncomplicated glory or heroic sacrifice. It's the story of the cost of perfection, the price paid to become a demigod, and the silent, brutal existence that follows. For even in gold, a cage is still a cage. Join me as we uncover the harrowing reality of the Emperor's custodians. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the lore. Have you ever looked at the Adeptus Custodes and thought, so, they're just bigger, shinier Space Marines? If you have, then settle in, because today we're diving deep into the origins of the Emperor's personal guard. And I promise you, by the end of this, you'll understand why comparing a Custodian to a Space Marine is like comparing a master-forged power sword to a mass-produced shovel. Let's get one thing straight right from the start. Custodians are not Astartes. They are something else entirely. While the Space Marines were the Emperor's hammer, the legions crafted to conquer the galaxy, the Custodes were his shield, his companions, his final, incorruptible line of defense. The difference begins at the most fundamental level, their creation. The Space Marine legions, even in their earliest days, were designed for mass production. A candidate is chosen, a series of 19, or later 21, specialized organs are implanted, and with a good dose of hypno-conditioning, a superhuman soldier is born. It's a brutal, but relatively standardized process. It's an assembly line for angels of death. The creation of a Custodian, however, is not a process. It is an art form, a dark, forgotten, and utterly unique art form. Each and every member of the 10,000 is a bespoke masterpiece, engineered directly by the master of mankind himself in the nascent days of the Imperium. Think of it this way. The Space Marines are built, the Custodes are The journey begins with an infant, usually from the noble houses of Terra. From the moment they are taken, their very essence is unmade and This isn't a simple matter of implanting new organs. This is bioalchemy, on a scale that makes the Adeptus Mechanicus S, most advanced gene-smithing, look like child's play. The secrets of this process, this intricate gene craft, were known only to the Emperor. He personally oversaw the transformation of these first candidates, weaving genetic code and alchemical secrets together in a way that no one since has been able to replicate. The candidate's DNA is completely their cellular structure broken down and rebuilt into something far beyond the human template. Where a Space Marine has additional organs, a Custodian's entire biology is a weapon. Their minds are fortified to a degree that makes them practically immune to psychic influence and the temptations of chaos. Their reflexes are so fast they perceive a bolter shell as flight, as if it were moving through Their strength is legendary, capable of tearing an Orcor boss apart with their bare hands. To create a Custodian is not to build a soldier, it is to unmake a human, and fashion in his place something more and something less. More, because they are paragons of physical and mental perfection, true demigods, walking in mortal form. Less, because the process strips away so much of what makes us human. The capacity for doubt, for fear, for ordinary fellowship, these are burned away in the alchemical fires of their creation. And this process is monstrously unforgiving. For every single soul who successfully ascends to become one of the 10,000, countless others fail. And failure isn't just being sent back home. The aspirants, who cannot withstand the agonizing transformation, are erased. Their bodies and minds are so horrifically warped by the process that they simply break, dissolving into screaming protoplasmic ruin. There is no record of these failures, no monuments to the fallen. Their existence is simply annihilated, a necessary sacrifice on the altar of perfection. Imagine the sheer psychic and physical fortitude required to survive something that utterly destroys thousands of other candidates. This is why each Custodian is utterly irreplaceable. When a Custodian falls in battle, it is not merely the loss of a soldier. It is the destruction of a unique work of art, a living relic from the dawn of the Imperium whose creation cannot be duplicated. The techniques, the specific alchemical formulae, the direct intervention of the Emperor, these are things of the past, lost to the mists of time and the secrecy of the Golden Throne. While the modern Custodes do have methods to create new brethren within the Tower of Hegemon, it is a pale shadow of the original process. It is a desperate attempt to replicate a miracle, and the results, while still magnificent by any other standard, are believed by some within the Custodes themselves to lack the spark of those made by the Emperor's own hand. So when you see that golden armor and that guardian spear, remember what you're looking at. You're not seeing a bigger space marine. You are seeing a living testament to the Emperor's ultimate vision for humanity. A handcrafted demigod, a philosopher king, a poet warrior, and an executioner, all rolled into one. Each one is a singular masterpiece, born from a brutal, arcane process that sacrificed thousands to create one. They are the pinnacle of genetic engineering, a standard of perfection so high that the Imperium has been unable to reach it for 10,000 years. They are the Adeptus Custodes, and they are unique. Thanks so much for hanging out and exploring this corner of the lore with me today. If you enjoyed this deep dive, do me a solid and hit that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe and ring that notification bell so you won't miss our next journey into the grim darkness of the far future. Let me know in the comments what you find most fascinating about the Custodes. Until next time, stay vigilant. Have you ever wondered what happens to a Custodian after their creation? We hear epic tales of their making, the transformation of a mortal child into a demigod of war, clad in oromite gold. We see them on the battlefield, a whirlwind of death and righteous fury. But what about the days, the years, the centuries in between? What is the life of a Custodian when there is no war to fight? The truth is far stranger, and perhaps far more demanding than any battle. Their life is not battle. Their life is waiting for battle. Imagine this. You stand in a hall of impossible scale within the Imperial Palace on Terra. The air is still, heavy with the silence of 10,000 years. Your brothers stand with you, motionless, forming a silent, golden cordon. You are a living statue, a guardian whose primary duty is not to fight, but to simply be, to be present, to be vigil, to guard the sanctum imperialis, the final resting place of the master of mankind. This is the reality for the vast majority of the Adeptus Custodes. For every hero of the Blood Games, for every shield captain leading a sortie into the void, there are 1,000 of his brothers whose entire existence is defined by a single, unwavering watch. They are the companions, the guardians of the throne. Their duty is not measured in enemies slain, but in millennia endured. Think of the psychological toll. A Custodian is engineered for perfection. Failure is not just an unacceptable outcome, it is a concept antithetical to their very being. Now, apply that mindset to an eternity of waiting. Every second that ticks by is a test. Every breath is a measure of discipline. The silence is not empty. It is filled with the weight of expectation, the psychic scream of a dying Adeptus, and the crushing knowledge that the fate of humanity rests upon your unblinking gaze. There are legends whispered among the lower echelons of the palace staff. Tales of Custodians, who have stood their post for so long, they have become one with the architecture. One story tells of Diocletian Quaros, a sentinel who stood motionless for 3 standard centuries. His vigil so absolute that his armor systems had to be remotely cycled by tech priests to prevent permanent fusion. He did not speak, eat, or rest. He simply watched. When his rotation finally ended, he took 3 steps, reported all as secure, and was escorted to the deepest chambers for rejuvenation. His mind a fortress against the ravages of time. This stillness is not passivity. It is an act of supreme mental and physical control. To remain so still, for so long, requires a will of iron that would shatter the minds of lesser beings. They are not merely standing guard. They are engaged in a silent war against entropy, against destruction, against a slow, creeping madness that comes with unending silence. Even their training reflects this. While we picture them in glorious sparring mashas, much of their regimen is introspective. They practice meditative states that allow them to process millennia of information, to run countless combat simulations in their minds, all while standing perfectly still. They compose epic poems, debate philosophy, and master dead languages, all within the silent confines of their own consciousness. Their minds are as much a weapon as their guardian spears, and when they do move, it is with a purpose that is terrifying in its intensity. A Custodian's training is relentless. It is not about reaching a peak. It is about maintaining that peak indefinitely. They will spar until their augmented bodies literally begin to break down, their muscles tearing and their bones splintering under the strain. They are then taken away, rebuilt by the Magi, their shattered forms made whole again, stronger than before. This is not seen as a setback. It is part of the process. It is a lesson in the limits of their physical shell, and a reinforcement of the indomitable will that drives it. They learn pain not as something to be avoided, but as a data point, another variable to be controlled and ultimately ignored. Consider the isolation. A custodian is so far removed from baseline humanity that interaction is almost impossible. They see the teeming masses of Terra not as people, but as a charge to be protected, a concept as abstract as the stars themselves. They may have once been human, but that part of them was scoured away, replaced by pure, unwavering duty. Their only true companionship is with their brothers, but even that is often a bond of silent understanding rather than shared words. Each is an island of golden resolve, connected by a shared, unspoken purpose. This life of waiting creates a unique psychology. They are scholars, poets, and philosophers, possessing intellects that dwarf the greatest thinkers in the Imperium. They hold the history of humanity, not in data slates, but in their living memory. Yet, this vast inner world is contained within a vessel, forged for one thing: violence in the Emperor's name. They are the ultimate paradox, a philosopher's mind in a killer's body, tasked with the job of a statue. This is why, when a custodian is finally unleashed, their fury is so absolute. It is the culmination of centuries of coiled potential, of silent contemplation, of restrained power. Every movement is perfect. Every strike is the result of 1,000 years of mental rehearsal. When you see a custodian in battle, you are not just seeing a warrior. You are seeing centuries of waiting given form, a storm of discipline and purpose, finally breaking. The silence is over, and the Emperor's wrath is at hand. So the next time you see an image of a golden giant standing sentinel before the great gates of the palace, remember what you are truly looking at. You are not seeing a guard on duty. You are seeing a being locked in a constant, internal struggle against time itself. You are seeing a mind that contains libraries, a body that has been broken and remade 100 times, and a will that has held back the darkness for 10,000 years, one silent second at a time. Their greatest battle is not fought with a spear, but with the stillness of their own soul, waiting for the one day when their watch might finally end. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the lore. If you enjoyed this look into the lives of the Emperors Chosen, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more. Let me know in the comments what facet of the 41st millennium you'd like to explore next. Until then, stay vigilant. Have you ever wondered who guards the Emperor's most secret vaults? Or who stands as the final line of defense for humanity itself? Beyond the golden legions you see on the battlefield, the Adeptus Custodes are far more than just soldiers. They are a complex brotherhood, divided into specialized factions, each with a sacred and often terrifying duty. Today we're going to delve deep into the shadows of the Imperial Palace and the vastness of the Sol System to uncover the secret lives of the Emperor's Chosen 10,000. First, let us speak of those who walk in eternal shadow, the Shadow Keepers. Imagine the deepest, darkest dungeons beneath the Imperial Palace on Terra, known as the Dark Cells. This is their domain. They are not merely jailers. They are wardens of horrors that could unravel reality itself. Within these arcane vaults lie artifacts of immense power, forbidden technologies from the Dark Age, and entities so malevolent that their very names are curses. The Shadow Keepers stand a silent, unending vigil, their black armor a stark contrast to the gleaming gold of their brothers. Their burden is immense, for they guard against threats that humanity must never know exist. They are the somber sentinels, forever bound to the darkness so that the rest of the Imperium might live in the light. But what happens when a threat isn't a monstrous entity, but a single, pivotal moment in history? This is where the Aquilian Shield operates. They are the Emperor's will, made manifest across the galaxy. Unlike their brethren who stand guard on Terra, these custodians are often dispatched alone, operating in absolute secrecy. Their mission: to protect specific mortal individuals, prophets, generals, artisans, even simple scribes who are destined to play a crucial role in the fate of the Imperium. An Aquilian Shield might spend decades, even centuries, disguised, observing, and waiting for that one critical moment to intervene. They are the unseen guardians of destiny, ensuring that the fragile tapestry of humanity's future is not torn asunder by the claws of fate or the schemes of the enemy. Imagine the pressure, the loneliness, the sheer weight of knowing an entire world's future might rest on your solitary watch. Closer at the home, we have the defenders of humanity's cradle, the Solar Watch. While their brothers guard the palace or hunt in the shadows, the Solar Watch has the entire Sol System as their domain. They are the masters of the void, their gleaming ships patrolling the silent darkness between worlds. From the boiling surface of Mercury to the icy rings of Saturn, they are the silent protectors of the throne world's celestial borders. They are strategists and fleet commanders, their understanding of void warfare unparalleled. The Solar Watch ensures that no alien fleet, no heretical armada, can ever threaten the heart of the Imperium. They are the Emperor's vigilant gaze, ever watchful, ever ready, the golden shield that guards our solar system against the endless night. Theirs is a quiet war, fought in the cold vacuum of space, but it is one of the most vital conflicts in the entire galaxy. With all these incredible duties, how do the Custodes maintain their legendary skill and unbreakable vigilance? This brings us to one of their most fascinating and chilling traditions, the Blood Games. This is not a sport or a mere training exercise. In the Blood Games, a single Custodian is tasked with the ultimate challenge, to infiltrate the most secure fortress in the galaxy, the Imperial Palace, and simulate an assassination attempt on the Emperor himself. They use all their cunning, skill, and knowledge to bypass their own brethren, to exploit every weakness, to think like the ultimate traitor. The purpose is twofold. For the infiltrator, it is the supreme test of their abilities. For the defenders, it is a constant, brutal drill to sharpen their senses and eliminate any complacency. Every success, every failure, is analyzed to strengthen the palace's defenses. It is a terrifying, necessary ritual. As the saying goes among them, even perfection is tested. For what is loyalty if it is never sharpened against treachery? The history of the Custodes is filled with legends born from these duties. Stories are whispered of shadow keepers single-handedly slaying demonic entities that had begun to whisper through the walls of their cells, preventing incursions that would have consumed terror from within. There are tales of the Aquilan shield, disguised as a simple guardsman, saving a vital imperial general from a sniper's bullet, thereby allowing a crusade to succeed that would have otherwise failed. We hear of the Solar Watch, their single ship holding a breach against the tide of orc invaders, buying precious time for the Imperial Navy to arrive. The Blood Games themselves have uncovered countless hidden routes and security flaws, foiling real assassination plots before they could even begin. They are not just warriors, they are the living immune system of the Imperium, silently purging threats, mending weaknesses, and ensuring the continued, albeit grim, survival of mankind. Each Custodian is a hero whose greatest deeds will never be recorded in any history book. Their sacrifice is known only to their brothers and the silent emperor they serve. Their loyalty is absolute, their purpose divine, and their vigil eternal. So, the next time you see the image of a golden-armored giant, remember that there is so much more beneath the surface. They are the keepers of secrets, the guardians of fate, the watchers in the void, and the ultimate test of their own perfection. They are the Adeptus Custodes, and their silent war is one that never, ever ends. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the heart of the Imperium. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more lore from the 41st millennium. Let me know in the comments which Custodes shield host fascinates you the most. Until next time, stay vigilant. Have you ever wondered who stands guard over the most powerful figures in history? Not just bodyguards, but living legends, whose very presence can turn the tide of a war. Today, we're delving into the silent, golden sentinels of the Imperium, the Adeptus Custodes. Forget what you think you know about elite warriors. These guardians operate on a whole different level. Their story begins with a name that echoes through millennia: Constantin Valdor. He wasn't just a custodian, he was the first Captain General, a figure of such immense power and authority that he was known simply as the Emperor's Hand. During the Great Crusade, while Primarchs led their legions to conquer the stars, Valdor stood at the Emperor's side, his counsel and his blade shaping the fate of the galaxy. He was a peer to the Primarchs, a warrior whose skill was matched only by his unwavering loyalty. Valdor's presence was a statement. Where he stood, the Emperor's will was absolute. He was the template, the gold standard against which all other custodians would be measured for the next 10,000 years. His actions during the Unification Wars and the Great Crusade are the stuff of legend, a testament to what a single, perfect warrior can achieve. But what happened after the galaxy was torn apart by the Horus Heresy? After the Emperor was interred upon the Golden Throne, the role of the Custodes changed forever. They retreated from the galaxy, their primary duty shifting from conquest to an eternal, silent vigil. They became a myth, figures spoken of only in hushed whispers. To the countless trillions of citizens across the Imperium, the Custodes are more than soldiers. They are angels of death and retribution, saints clad in gold. Seeing one is an omen, a sign that events of galactic importance are unfolding. The sight of a custodian can inspire both fanatical worship and primal fear. Imagine being a simple farmer, a factory worker, and witnessing a 10-foot-tall demigod in Oromite armor, a being who seems to radiate pure authority. You wouldn't just be in awe, you'd be fundamentally changed by the experience. Even the mighty Space Marines, the angels of death themselves, regard the Custodes with a unique blend of reverence and trepidation. A chapter master, a veteran of 1,000 battles, will defer to a shield captain of the Custodes, without question. They understand that a Custodian is not just a better equipped warrior. They are a different order of being. Each one is a bespoke creation, a master of strategy, philosophy, and every conceivable form of combat. When a Space Marine sees a Custodian, they see the living embodiment of the Emperor's original vision, a reminder of the perfection they all strive for, but can never truly attain. This isn't a rivalry, it's the quiet acknowledgement of a vast, unbridgeable gulf in purpose and power. While their primary duty is to guard the Imperial Palace on Terra, there are times when the Custodes must intervene directly in the galaxy's conflicts. These interventions are rare, surgical, and absolutely devastating. A single Custodian, or a small squad, can achieve what an entire army cannot. There are fragmented accounts, battlefield legends, of a lone Custodian holding a breach against a tide of thousands of enemies. Their guardians spear a blur of motion, felling monstrous beasts and heretical champions with equal ease. They appear without warning, execute their mission with terrifying efficiency, and vanish just as quickly. They don't fight for territory or glory, they fight to eliminate a specific threat to the throne, to cut out a cancer before it can spread. To witness a Custodian in battle is to watch an artist at work, if the art form was the utter annihilation of their foes. Yet for all their power, for all their victories, there's a profound melancholy that hangs over the Adeptus Custodes. Every battle they win, every enemy they strike down, feels like a hollow echo of their true purpose. They were created to be the companions and counselors of a living, conquering emperor. They were meant to help build a golden age for humanity. Instead, they are the wardens of a tomb, the guardians of a throne-bound corpse. They fight not for a glorious future, but to preserve a decaying present, to hold back the darkness for just one more day. Each victory is merely a postponement of the inevitable. They are perfect beings, trapped in an imperfect duty, an eternal, thankless vigil. This is the tragedy of the Custodes. They have the power to shape the destiny of the galaxy, but their oath binds them to a gilded cage, forever guarding the memory of what was lost. This inherent sadness is what makes them so compelling. They are not just unstoppable warriors. They are tragic heroes, defined by loss and bound by an oath that has cost them their original purpose. Think about the psychological burden. For 10,000 years, they have stood watch, knowing that the master they were made to serve is silent, his grand dream shattered. They are the living relics of a better time. Their golden armor, a stark contrast to the grim darkness of the far future. Their fight is a holding action, a desperate defense against the tide of horrors, all while knowing that the light they protect is flickering and may one day go out. And so, the legend of the Custodes continues. They remain the ultimate guardians, the last line of defense for the heart of the Imperium. They are a symbol of hope and despair in equal measure. They are a reminder of the heights humanity once reached and the terrible price of failure. Their names may be lost to history, their deeds unrecorded, but their vigil is eternal. They are the 10,000, and their watch never ends. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the lore. If you enjoyed this journey into the world of the Custodes, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Let me know in the comments which faction you'd like to see me cover next. Until then, stay curious. In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, among the countless horrors and valiant heroes, one group stands apart, shimmering in auramite gold. The Adeptus Custodes, the Emperor's personal guard, the 10,000. When you see them, you see demigods, the pinnacle of what a human can become. They are perfection made manifest, warriors without peer, their every action a testament to unwavering loyalty. We marvel at their power, their war gear, their glorious history. But today, I want you to look past the golden armor. Look deeper into the heart of the warrior within, because there, you'll find not just a soldier, but one of the most profound and silent tragedies in the entire Imperium. What makes a Space Marine? It's not just the gene seed, or the power armor. It's the brotherhood. The Ultramarines have their brothers in the Blood Angels share their sorrow and their rage. The Space Wolves howl as one pack. Even in the face of annihilation, a Space Marine is never truly alone. He has his chapter, his family forged in blood and fire. It is his anchor, his purpose beyond the immediate battlefield. He fights for his brothers, dies for his brothers, and is remembered by his brothers. Now, consider the Custodian. Where is his chapter? Where is his brotherhood? Te ansueris, tereis nonne. Custodians do not belong to chapters. They are a collection of individual guardians, a legion of one, repeated 10,000 times over. They fight alongside each other, yes, but the bond is one of professional respect and shared purpose, not the deep familial connection of a Space Marine chapter. They are comrades in arms, not brothers in spirit. Their fraternity is duty itself. Their only true constant, the singular object of their millennia-long vigil, is the silent, decaying figure upon the golden throne. Imagine this existence. You are created to be perfect. Your mind is a fortress, your body a weapon of unparalleled lethality. You are granted a lifespan that can stretch for thousands, even tens of thousands of years. In that time, you will see empires rise and fall. You will see heroes born and turn to dust. You will watch generations of mortal men live out their entire lives in the time it takes for you to complete a single patrol rotation. Everyone you might have known from your past, any semblance of a normal life, is a ghost, a faded memory from a forgotten age. While a Space Marine finds solace in the shared history of his chapter, a Custodian's history is his own, a solitary burden. He remembers the face of the Emperor when he still walked among men. He remembers the hope of the Great Crusade, the vibrant dream of a unified humanity. He remembers the sky of Terra before it became a smog-choked nightmare. He remembers a galaxy filled with promise, not just endless war. These memories are not sources of comfort. They are daggers. Each day, the Custodian stands guard over the shattered remnant of that dream. He protects a corpse emperor, a silent monarch sustained by the daily sacrifice of 1,000 souls. The very air of the Sanctum Imperialis is thick with the psychic scream of a dying god and the cloying scent of decay. This is his reality, day in, day out, for centuries, for millennia. A Custodian cannot falter. A Custodian cannot doubt. This is the core of their being, imprinted upon their very soul. But within the magnificent, sculpted armor, there is still a man who was once a child, taken from his family. A man who remembers what it means to feel, to hope, to dream, and memory is the cruelest burden of all. How can you not feel doubt when the dream you got is so starkly contrasted with the horrifying reality before you? How can you not feel an immense, soul-crushing loneliness when you are surrounded by nothing but ghosts and the echoes of a golden age? They are given names, but these are titles, earned through deeds and centuries of service. Their original names, their human identities, are buried deep, relics of a life they can never reclaim. They are referred to as the 10,000, but this number is a symbol, not a community. When a Custodian falls, Aes Mornod, his name recorded in glory, but the gap he leaves is filled by another solitary giant, another soul condemned to the same eternal, lonely vigil. There is no shared mess hall filled with laughter and boasts. There is only the silent contemplation of duty in the gilded halls of the Imperial Palace. Think of Constantine Valdor, the first of the 10,000, a being who stood beside the Emperor as a peer. Where is he now? Vanished. A ghost in his own legend. Think of the countless others, whose names we will never know. They live and die in relative anonymity, their incredible deeds witnessed only by the cold stone of the palace and the unblinking eye of the throne. Their isolation is absolute. They are wardens of humanity's greatest treasure, but they are also prisoners of that same duty. A beautiful, golden cage is still a cage. When Robu Gilliman returned, it was a cataclysm for the Custodes. For 10,000 years, their duty was static, guard the throne. Suddenly, the galaxy changed. The Primarch walked again. The Custodes were commanded to march to war across the stars, to leave the palace walls that had been their entire world. For some, this must have been a release, a chance to finally apply their skills to the galaxy their master sought to build. But for others, imagine the conflict. To leave the throne room, even for a moment, must have felt like a betrayal of their single, sacred purpose. It introduced a new variable into an equation that had been constant for 10 millennia: choice. And with choice comes the potential for doubt, for error, for a faltering of the will. The existential tragedy of the Custodian is not that he might die in battle. It is that he is condemned to live for thousands of years, carrying the weight of a failed dream on his shoulders, to be the most powerful, most perfect human imaginable, and to be utterly alone in that perfection, to be surrounded by the symbols of humanity's greatest hope while standing watch over its greatest failure. So the next time you see a model of an Adeptus Custodes, or read about their heroic deeds, remember the man inside the armor. Remember the silent giant who has outlived everything he ever loved, who guards the memory of a better time, and whose only constant companion is the crushing weight of a duty that will never, ever end. He is the ultimate guardian, the Golden Sentinel. And he is, perhaps the loneliest soul in the entire galaxy. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the lore. If you enjoyed this exploration, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more content like this. Let me know in the comments what you find most compelling about the Custodes. Until next time, stay curious and may the Emperor protect. Solemn, introspective music begins with a slightly epic and melancholic tone. 10,000 years. Try to imagine that span of time. Civilizations rise from dust and return to it. Stars are born, burn brightly, and die. Entire species evolve, conquer, and fade into myth. For 10,000 years, the galaxy has twisted in an endless spiral of war, heresy, and despair. And through it all, they have stood guard. Unblinking, unwavering, unbroken. The Adeptus Custodes. When we think of the Imperium's defenders, we often picture the numberless legions of the Astra Militarum, or the iconic Space Marines. But the Custodes, they are something else entirely. They are not merely soldiers. They are living artifacts from a brighter age, a time when humanity dared to dream of a future free from the horrors that now plague it. Each one is a masterwork of genetic engineering, a warrior philosopher whose martial prowess is matched only by his intellect. They walked beside the Emperor. They heard his voice. They shared his vision for the galaxy. And then came the silence. For 10 millennia, their master has been enthroned upon the golden throne, a silent, psychic beacon against the encroaching darkness. He does not speak. He does not command. He does not even see them as they stand their eternal vigil. Think about that. The object of your entire existence, the very reason you were created, is a silent effigy of past glory. Every day, you stand ready to give your life for a master who cannot acknowledge your sacrifice. Every sunrise is a reminder of the dawn that will never break. Their devotion is, in a word, it's a testament to a loyalty so profound it defies comprehension. While the rest of the Imperium prays to a distant god Empora, the Custodes remember the man. They guard not a deity, but a father, a leader, a fallen dream. Their faith isn't born of scripture, but of memory. This unwavering loyalty is the bedrock upon which the Imperial Palace, and by extension, the entire Imperium, still stands. It is, perhaps, the single greatest act of devotion in the history of the galaxy. But there is another side to this golden coin, a darker, more horrifying truth. T.S. devotion, it is also a prison. Each custodian is shackled to a duty that has no end. They are created for a singular purpose, one that consumes their every waking moment, leaving no room for individuality, for hope, for a life beyond the gilded cage of the Imperial Palace. They were meant to be the architects of a new age, the Emperor's companions. Instead, they have become its wardens, its jailers, its silent mourners. They watch as the Imperium. They were meant to build decays into a superstitious, brutal parody of the Emperor's vision. They see the ideals they fought for, twisted and corrupted by the very institutions sworn to uphold them. They are witnesses to a slow, agonizing death that has stretched across 100 centuries. Their endurance is not just inspiring, it's a tragedy of galactic proportions. They are the living embodiment of a promise that can no longer be kept. The galaxy calls them golden angels, but they are not angels. They are prisoners bound to a duty that can never end, guarding a master who will never thank them, waiting for a tomorrow that will never come. And still they endure, for they are the Adeptus Custodes, the Emperor's last promise, and his eternal curse. Their will is forged from adamantium, their loyalty For 10,000 years, they have held the line when all else has failed. But even the strongest chains may one day break. And when they do, the Imperium will tremble. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the heart of the Imperium. If you enjoyed this deep dive, consider liking the video and subscribing for more lore. Let me know in the comments what you think about the eternal vigil of the Custodes. Until next time, may the Emperor protect.